Hiya, I'm Jasper, and welcome to video review for The Power. It's a TV show on Amazon that's based on some popular book or book series that I haven't read. So, as always, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the furry. To start with the furry, there isn't any. Moving on to the good and the bad. So, I did a review of the first 3 episodes, and then of episodes 4 and 5, 4, 5, 6, somewhere in there. And so this is my overall review of the season. What I will say is that pretty much everything you need to know about the good or the bad about this show is in my first 3 episodes review. So check that out because it does not get better. So I'm going to call this my spoiler review for the whole season because I am going to talk about the last episodes. So for those of you that haven't seen my review, haven't seen it, just still want to hear about it, essentially what this show is teenage girls going through puberty suddenly start developing the ability to shoot electricity out of their fingers, and so it changes the world, and then they find out that it has to do with these, they call them stains, but basically around the collarbone area is how they magically make this, it's a new organ, and that's how it works. Sure, whatever. And then they do find out that people who have it can give it to older women who've already gone through puberty, so that, they can also have the power. And basically, it's a stupid show. It's a massively stupid show. Like the opening episodes especially are just there to piss everyone off, regardless of your view about the power or lack thereof of females. It's gonna piss everyone off on both sides of any discussion about this, which is just really bad idea in my opinion. It's a stupid way to market, it's a stupid way to make a show. Not great. I continue watching it because the concept, like if you get over how they're definitely leading things one way or the other in terms of like just how bad things can be, think of like 13 Reasons Why type of leaning, like trying to get you to see something in the exact certain way without any other conflicting viewpoint. So if you ignore all that, the premise itself is actually pretty interesting because how they cover it is they cover like a dude who's a journalist from like Africa, and his trying to cover it and spread that word, and you get to see how does Saudi Arabia, which has terrible female rights, how do they handle it? How do both the women and the men in that country handle it, as well as what is people in political power. So one of our main characters, I think the name of the actress is like Colleen or Cole, it doesn't matter. Point is that she is a mayor of Seattle, Portland, one of the main cities of that area, and so this happens, and the senator is some douchebag white guy, because of course, and then he tries to institute some like heinously oppressive laws, and she's like, nah, bro, that's civil rights still exists, bro. So she starts running for Senate, and it's how that type of thing would happen. How do you deal with that at a political level when you're running for office and it's such a controversial issue in terms of how to handle it and how to approach it and what's good and what's bad? And then it also has, again, another white guy who is doing the ultra-docs or whatever, and he's the guy who's like, oh, women are bad and this is taking over maledom and blah, blah, blah. And really, in my opinion, if you think about this show, essentially it is a gun advertisement show because it talks about like, oh, this is our power and this is the great equalizer and this is what makes us blah, 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 blah from the female side of things. And it's like, if everyone of you and I and everyone just carried a gun, there you go. Like, that is essentially what you're saying, is that like, oh, look at all this power. Look at how it equalizes things by having somebody have this power. Well, if everyone was allowed to carry a gun everywhere they went, yeah, that would equalize the power in a lot of the situations that they bring up to try and make you feel a certain way about how this thing is, about how this universe is. Yeah, so I don't think they do it very well. And my biggest problem, like I said, they have, you get a cover from interesting things. You also get one of the chicks who is looking at it from a, like, she's hearing a voice, which we never get an explanation for, by the way, other than that she believes she's talking to God, and sure, I mean, why not? You talk to God, everybody's like, oh, that's great, but God talks to you, suddenly you're crazy. What do I know? So maybe she is, maybe she isn't talking to God. But the point is that how does somebody who believes they're talking to God and is a relatively powerful electrical user, how do they get a following? Like, you get to see the beginnings of, I'm going to call it a cult, but how do you get to see the beginnings of a religion or a cult? And so it has such interesting premise. And then you have somebody who's just in London, and their dad's like a mini gangster type guy, and she's kind of brought up in that world, but she's not super educated, but she's got a temper, but she's super powerful. And it had a bit of the Sense8 feel, where they have such disparate storylines, but you can kind of see them start to overlap a little bit, and you know that they're going to bring them together. Well, the problem with this show is that it ends just as you bring them together. There is no payoff. There is no like, oh hey, now we're together. But it brings a couple of the different storylines together, and then it just fucking ends. And on top of that, the political storyline especially, which I feel like they spent the most amount of time with and had the best writing, because it has John Leguizamo, who's I think a great actor, and like that family dynamic of like a teen who's growing up in a political thing that she didn't want to initially, and she's going through this. The son who's taken over by Ultradux, and like, oh, how does he react, and how do they keep the family together, and how does he fall victim to that psyop, like, mind fuckery type thing, and then how does the dad deal with this new dynamic, and blah, blah, blah. So, like, it's the most interesting story, in my opinion, and they end that shit on a fucking cliffhanger. Like, the most cliffhangery of cliffhangers, where you're like, well, where is this going to go? And I also didn't particularly like how they made the cliffhanger, because how they brought it about was a couple of people who'd been making the right decision the whole time, like the correct decision the whole time. Like, the last episode, they're like, we're going to do something really fucking stupid that definitely wouldn't pass muster, and that people are going to find out about. We're going to do that, and Jen just be shocked when she finds out, and then we're going to do the end thing, where it's just like, you were winning, and then suddenly it's sort of like in Avengers Infinity War, when they almost had the glove off of Thanos, and then Thanos was like, oh, hey, by the way, I killed Gamora, and so then fucking Peter Quill was like, no, and then like fucked everything up. Like, they had the glove almost off Thanos, and then stupid writing decided like, we can't have him win yet, so we're gonna have some dumbass do a dumbass thing. Which, by the way, go see Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It's a much better movie. Well, it's not a better movie, but it's a better Quill in that movie, and it's a good movie overall. Anyway, getting back to this. So, yeah, that's the problem, is that this, like, you clearly had such a good setup, and then it's just like, and we need to fuck this up for her somehow. So we're going to have some lazy writing to cause this to have a terrible downfall. Yep, that'll pass. So nothing is solved in this, nothing whatsoever, and you're 9 episodes in, and nothing has been solved. Absolutely nothing. Like, we care about these characters at this point, after we've gotten over the really terrible fucking introductions, but we care about these characters, and more so we care about their impact on the world that has been developed, and we don't get any of it. It just ends. I don't know if that was the end of the book, but I doubt it, because it just doesn't feel like an end of a book. It feels like the end of a section of a book. I don't know if they're just doing like a Harry Potter thing, but with TV show, where they're trying to draw it out. But if I remember correctly, I want to say that this show was also canceled. I don't remember, but I kind of hope it was canceled, because I don't think you should watch it, because they're just going to do the same shit in the second season, is my guess. So, skip this show. If they do get a second season, I'm going to wait, and I'm going to watch the last episode of the second season first to see if it has a cliffhanger fucking ending again, and then I will let you know if you need to bother watching it. But at this point, and check the description, because I will update it whenever that second season, if it does happen, comes out fully. But skip this show. 2 thumbs way down for just pissing off everybody on every side of everything, and just terrible interpretations of how everything just, it sucks. Don't watch this show. All right, that's all I have for this one. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you at the next one. Bye.